I learned a lot from everybody that was on the panel, and it was overall a great experience.
I totally agree. I think it was great hearing everybody's different opinions, kind of opened my eyes a little bit, just to kind of made me feel comfortable to learn that I'm not alone.
I thought it was fantastic because they dealt with creativity from all kinds of different levels. Fine art, commercial art, some that didn't believe things could be created at all.
One of the panelists said that you're always going to be your own worst critic, which I kind of knew, but like it's kind of good to hear out loud because now I know. Now I can actually cognitively think of that while I'm working and realize, like, okay, I need to just put this down and come back to it later. Like, just kind of taking more of a relaxed approach to my art and not being so, I guess, not so overly critical that it drives me insane, and I can still enjoy it more that way.
Else, to see it through somebody else's eyes, to see if somebody else would like to look at it.
Right. Sounds a little psychotic.
First time we met. No, we met before.
But I understand to be able to remove yourself, to look objectively at the work, but it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
How do you do it?
I just know how to do it now. I guess I kind of brutally beat myself up a few times, and then look at stuff that people like looking at that I've made in shows, and then continue along that vein. And look at people's reactions and don't listen to critics necessarily. Their idea of good art might not be my idea of good art.
And I would think a lot of it has to do with trusting your instincts, learning to trust your own self.
I think if you're supposed to be creative and you want to be, let's say, pure fine artist or a person who is expressive, I mean, this has to come from within. So if you're starting to believe other people, your expression becomes confused or in a way, kind of not true to what you're trying to say.
Okay.
So.
Well, then the question is, how do you learn to trust your instincts?
Wait, can I answer that first question?
Yeah, please. Go for it.
Okay. Well, actually, I didn't really want to answer the one, what do I wish somebody had told me, because I've been pondering that for days since you sent. And there have been so many times when I've sat by myself trying to figure something out when I've thought, I wish somebody had told me this. But I couldn't think of any of specific examples. But the thing I wanted to say is that is this idea of that we were talking about, which is, I agree with both of you about criticism of yourself, but I think there's a big difference between that voice that Colleen was talking about that says, why in the world would you think you could do this? Don't even try. You're really not going to do it, and you're not very good, and why did you think you could be an artist in the first place? I have that voice, and that's the one to ignore. And then there's this other very analytical voice when I'm in the process of looking at my work, where I can be very harshly critical and very detached and very objective, and I can say, okay, you thought this was a good picture last week, but it's really not. It's clear that it's not. Out it goes. And so you have to have that, that very analytical critic, but then you have to get rid of the one that says, oh, you're no good.